If only they knew. The hub for young business minds.
Yeah, so my name is Clara Baldwin. I just turned 24 years old. I am from Kansas City, which is in the middle of the US. I am from a family of five. My mom is from Thailand and my dad was from Germany. But I recently graduated from Westminster College, which is in Fulton, Missouri. And as of right now, I'm going on 7 years of marketing, I would say. So I've had my feet in a lot of industries and a lot of jobs. But right now, at the moment, I have a nonprofit for domestic abuse victims called Peace Over Pieces. And I also launched a marketing agency as of January in this year.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. And I always say it's always important to sort of rewind the clocks a bit and find out who people were to find out who they are now. And I think it's ever so important, especially in your case, one being that you're actually international. So you're actually the first international guest. I've had someone from Ireland, but
Oh, really?
yeah, but I've never had someone as far away as you. So it'd be good to sort of hear
Oh,
your
awesome.
perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
good. I
exactly.
feel honored then.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, firstly, what is your area like? And we'll sort of, most of my audience is from like London and areas like that.
Yeah.
So like,
So
is it completely different or?
I'm sure it is, but when people think of America, I assume they think of like California and New York. I'm from Missouri, which is the middle of the US, and so our seasons are insane. Like it's 90 degrees one day and then it's raining the next day and then it's snowing the next day. Like we have all these seasons all the time, and right now it's getting cooler, but I live in like a homey city, so I would say the city has around like 800,000 people. It's Kansas City, Missouri. I don't know, you probably don't keep up with American football, but we won the Super Bowl last year, so we're the champions.
Oh no.
So it's kind of like a hippie, like, sports loving town. It's really fun. It's kind of big, but not too big, so I like it. Like it's probably 10% of what LA is. But yeah, it's super diverse and fun. I grew up in Columbia, Missouri, which is 2 hours away from here, way smaller, and that's the definition of a hippie town right there. It's like a college town, all young people and, fun loving, free spirited. So yeah, that's where I am right now.
No, it sounds good. It sounds good. And what was, in terms of like school life, what was it like? Because when I picture American schools, I picture like the massive like movie sort of sets like of a school.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, is it like that or no?
Well, I'm from Columbia, which was a huge university. It was University of Missouri, and if you were raised there, you're basically destined to go to that college. So I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I went 30 minutes away to this private college called Westminster, and that was a private college. It was really small. It was like I think around 800 people, but it was super fun. Still, they have the social life and big business medical schools. So I ended up going there just for the people and the professors. It was super hands-on, very personable, as opposed to a big school where you're kind of like sitting in a lecture hall of like 300 kids. So yeah, I just felt that was more me than a big university.
Yeah, no, I had like the worst of both worlds. Normally it's the best of both worlds, but I had the worst. I went to a small university in like,
Okay.
it was basically like in a tower block, and it didn't have that sort of personal feel at all. Like all the teachers like didn't even know my name, even though I
Right.
was a class of 20, like no one spoke to each other. So
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
sure it's
a
still
bit
fun
different.
though. I mean, some people love that. I mean, I literally couldn't like be late to class. Your professors know everything about you, and they'll know when you're not there and call you out the next class. Just like high school, you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't catch a break. But it does keep you on your shit, I guess.
Yeah. No, I wish it was like that, but yeah, again, it was just if you didn't turn up, like the teacher didn't even realize. Like,
Yeah,
it's like,
blessing and a curse, I guess.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's sort of good, but sort of bad. But yeah,
Right,
it was just a weird sort of period of my life. But yeah,
for sure.
anyway, enough about me. Speaking, I heard you speaking on Lucy Norris's podcast. I think it was,
Oh,
uh,
did you?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I think it was a
I
couple of weeks
love
ago.
her. Yes,
Yeah,
I
she's
want to
lovely,
like
right?
visit Lucy. I don't know her, but I feel like we would be good friends, and I want to go up there someday.
Yeah, I think you should. I think she's like in Ireland and then sometimes like in England. So I think she's between the two. So yeah, you'll
Oh,
have to bring her
really?
down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's super cool. Yeah, I was
yeah,
on her podcast like 2 weeks ago, I think,
yeah. That's
but
it.
super fun.
Yeah, no, it's a good episode. And one thing that stood out is the fact that you went through quite a lot when you was younger. Is that correct?
Yes. So, recently, like, I started telling my story more. So, growing up, I was kind of an abusive home with my dad. He didn't really supply us financially, emotionally. He was abusive in all ways. And so it kind of made me the person I am today. I like to say, like, it made me strong. And it also gave me this edge to myself where I wanted to do things on my own. And I'm very independent. It led me to create my first dropshipping company called Soak Boutique. And I was 15, I think, when I started designing the website and like thinking of this idea of how to get money so I could get out of this situation and into college and get my mom out of the house because she was going through a lot at the time with that situation. Um, but yeah, I had kind of a rough childhood growing up. Like, I paid for everything on my own and did everything. And although it was really hard, it does feel like a different life now looking back on it. Like, everything's so different and I feel blessed for where I'm at now. But yeah, it did lead to my entrepreneurial self. So I can say I am grateful for that.
No, that's good. And I was thinking that like it's a good thing that some other people in that situation would have gone the other way and would have like even turned out abusive themselves, or sort of took the abuse and channeled it into themselves, like self-harming and stuff like that, and could have completely gone the other way. So it's so good to see
Oh, for sure.
an
Yeah.
example of someone like yourself, you know.
Yeah. And it definitely wasn't right away. Like, I would say I was kind of in a bad path, like for a year or two. Like, I was just really down and just drinking and like not doing the right things as a kid, like at that age. But eventually I just snapped out of it. I had like a moment one day where I just manifested, like, if I create a company that maybe could get me out of my situation, because at the time I was working all these like, I don't know, shitty jobs. You can't really get a good job when you're that young and you have no experience. So I was like waitressing and doing, I think I worked at a salon, a video game store, like anything I could get my hands on. I had like 3 jobs at once and I was just tired. And I don't know what made me think of a drop shipping company, but I think it must have been like an ad or something, and just saying like the idea of how I don't need to buy anything. I can just get into this industry really quick. And that's how I came about like the idea of Soak Boutique.
So what gave you like the confidence, or was it purely just like the energy of just not wanting to be in the situation you was in, or how,
Yeah,
what sort of gave you that confidence?
definitely would say it wasn't confidence. Like,
Yeah.
I'd say I have confidence now and I believe in myself, but back then I didn't. I was purely running off energy of like, I want to get out of this life and this situation. I want to move somewhere else. I want to have money where I'm comfortable and can do whatever I want. So I was just running off pure instinct and YouTube tutorials and articles. Like, I was just hoping what I was doing was right. But when I developed the website, launched it, I got into the whole industry when it was really early. Like, there's so many drop shipping companies now, it's insane. But back then there wasn't many. And so I kind of had an advantage that way because I got followers like really easily. This is back when Instagram's algorithm was like so lenient. Like, you could post anything and it would bring in hundreds of followers. Nowadays it's like it's not like that. But it just took off, and eventually it got like around 40,000 followers, I'd say. And I was getting paid for just posting things and getting sponsors and stuff. But yeah, it got me out of that situation. I finally had money where I could go to college and I could give money to my mom to get out of her situation. I remember like she just needed money, like $50 a night to get by, like in the motels she was staying in. And it was really hard. She wasn't even around us. She just had to escape that. And we funded her, her traveling a little bit with what we had. But now it's like, flash forward, it led us to such a good life. And she lives like 5 minutes from me now and has an amazing boyfriend, amazing house, the best car. Like, she is living. So we're all in a good place now.
I think, yeah, like I said, it's a good example. I think it's also a good example of just being able to get out of your situation, like visualize where you want to be, and you'll find the way to sort of get there if you believe in it enough. Which leads me to the question, like, what's your take on the idea? Because you mentioned manifestation earlier, and it's something I've been looking into. So if you don't mind, like, what's your sort of take on manifestation, visualization, and that whole sort of
Oh
world?
my gosh. Yeah. If there's one person who believes in manifestation, it's me, because I have used manifestation so many times in my life. And every time I do it, it just ends up changing my life completely. So the first time was with that drop shipping company, Soak. And I remember just sitting there, and suddenly it hits me. It was like an overflowing feeling of like, I can do this and I'm going to do this. And I developed the e-commerce site and the payment system and everything, the plan. I developed it within like 2 days. I stayed up all night, and
Wow.
I was like, I'm not going to stop until it's actually done, like it's live. So yeah, I didn't sleep. It was live, and then it just took off. Obviously at first it was hard, but it did. And then the second time I manifested, I wanted to make a nonprofit for domestic abuse victims when I was like in a better place. And I was like, I would have given anything to have the resources to like reach out to someone or get donations or something during that time. So I developed the nonprofit within a day, I think. Like I just sat there and I was like, how cool would it be if I made a podcast to like talk to victims and then get them donations to get out of that situation related to mine in the past. And yep, I manifested that. It was live, and then now I get so many donations per month to help women and men around the world with those situations. And then of course the third time, I got laid off from my corporate job out of college, and I was super down about everything. And then I was like, you know what, I'm going to make an agency that's better than that one. So I manifested that. And then within 3 days, I got my first client, and now flash forward 6 months, I've scaled it past 100,000 in revenue, and I have like 55 clients, I think. So
Wow.
manifestation, if you just believe in it and you really feel it and vision it, and you just don't give up, like I truly believe you can do anything.
Yeah, no, same. And I think even if like somehow it's like a form of placebo or anything like that, I think even if it isn't necessarily real, I think like you said, adopting that positive mindset like cannot be anything but good, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And it's not easy. Like the way I talk about it makes it seem like poof, it like just happened, but it didn't. I went through so many struggles. I learned from so many failures, and I don't know, it just made me who I am today. And I've learned every single day. I still learn every day on the job with different clients, like what to do, what not to do. There's really nothing out there that tells you how to be a business owner step by step. And that's why it's scary to be one. Because I mean, when you're at a 9 to 5, you get your task and they tell you what to do, and then you go home. As compared to right now, it's like you really don't know if you're doing the right thing. You're just going to have to go off your instinct and believe in yourself.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think like with a 9 to 5, I was thinking of this literally the other day. Like with a 9 to 5, the amount of work you do for the amount of money you get is like crazy. Like in most
Insane.
jobs, like in my job, for example, I didn't work that much. I shouldn't be saying this, but I didn't work that much, and I got
Yeah.
paid quite a bit. So like, and then when you try and do that amount of work yourself, like if you're working for yourself, you're like, oh crap. Like my example, I work in social media, so like a few posts a day at my 9 to 5 would have got me £1,400 a month or whatever it was. And a few
Exactly.
posts a day now is like nothing. I just get
Oh
nothing
yeah.
from it.
Right. I mean, when I was working for that corporate agency, I was like, oh my gosh, like I was so excited when I got the job. I applied every day for everything. And I thought that the corporate life really defined my success in me. And like, I wasn't going to make a lot of money, and I wasn't going to get approval from others if I worked for myself. But then I quickly learned like that being laid off was such a blessing, because I just like the potential you can have in owning your own business, and like you get raises every day, like as compared to the corporate life where you get maybe like, I don't know, a small raise every year. If that, you have to be around for a long time for a raise. Nowadays, I'm like, I just can't believe how much potential and like revenue projection there is owning your own business. Like I bring on one client that's like a whole year's salary sometimes, like for people. And I don't know, it's not all about the money either. I'm also extremely happy, and my life quality has gone up. Like I make my own schedule. I can just stop one day and be like, hey, I just want to go on vacation. Like I make those decisions. I hire the people and work with the people that I want, which is super important as well, because in the corporate world, I was working with a lot of moody people, and they were overworking me, and I was not getting paid enough. So all in all, it was just negative for me. I'm not saying like the whole corporate world isn't or is toxic, because I'm sure there was amazing companies and people love that life, but just for me personally, I was not having it.
No, I agree. I think like the 9 to 5 is like sort of like a comfort zone. Like I said, you do a little bit of work, you get a decent amount of money, and you sort of just got to go through the motions of it all every day. But then getting away from that and doing your own thing is high risk, high reward. Like you have to put in so much more work. But like you said, one client or one sort of deal can set you up for what would have been a year's work at the 9 to 5. You know, it's a high risk, high reward.
Oh yeah, exactly. And just, yeah, again, my life quality
Mhm.
definitely has gone up. And just, it's so interesting too being your own business owner, because you get to be so hands-on with people. And I feel like what I was doing was, I was another number. No one knew what, like, I was working on their accounts. They didn't know that I was the designer on some of those sets. Like, it was just, ghost work. And I wasn't happy, because I'm always a creative person and super hands-on with people. So the fact that no one knew the work I was doing, it just made me sad. Like, I felt like it wasn't worth it. And even though I was getting paid, I love the feeling of giving someone what they want and they know that I created that for them. It feels like an accomplishment. Like, the other day I got an email and he was like, I'm like jumping up and down, so excited, because this is always what I've wanted and envisioned for my designs and my company, and like, it's all coming to life so quickly. And that just made me like want to, cry happy tears, because it just makes me so happy, like, to give someone what they want, and the fact that I can do that and I have the skills too.
Mm. I think it was Mike Tyson, funnily enough, that the other week on the Joe Rogan podcast, he said that he was trying to say that like being born with like a high level of creativity like is like a blessing and a curse, like a gift and a curse, because if you don't get to fulfill your creativity levels to that high extent, it makes those creative people so depressed. And I guess you seem to be in that sort of same category of a creative
Yeah,
person.
wow. Yeah, that I've never heard that, but that's so true. I just think that I thrive on, like, I guess not recognition, but like credit. If I do something, I want someone to recognize that I did that. I also just feel good giving to people. Like, I'm the person who always wants to give to people and surprise people. So the fact that my job every day is to bring someone's dreams to life with their business, like, it feels very good.
Yeah, and you also mentioned something earlier about like you can create your schedule, the schedule that you want. And I was listening to somebody else, Jordan Peterson. Not many people are a fan of him. He's sort of quite divisive. I don't know if you've heard of him or not.
No, I haven't.
No, yeah. So I think he's from Canada. Not that that's relevant to you, but in my mind, America and Canada's
No,
like,
it is. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, he was saying like if you can create your life, like that's one of the best things you could ever do, like in terms of setting up your schedule, waking up at the time you want, like going to do like running in the morning and then speak to clients, and just creating your lifestyle is like one of the most rewarding like aspects of being an entrepreneur, you know.
No, yeah, I so agree, because it's just like every day I wake up, it's not the same.
Yeah.
And every day I meet new people and I work in new niches and industries, and I get to like learn about so many different things. And I think that's what makes me happy. I get really down when I have the same routine every day of like getting up at 9, going to work, coming home, making dinner. And I can't tell you a new thing about my day. Like, I thrive on coming home and being excited, just on all the new things I learned that day and can share, and like, I don't know, just grow my knowledge, I guess. So yeah, I completely agree with that. Like, creating your own life is something very special, and the marketing industry definitely allows you to do that.
Oh yeah, definitely, without a doubt. And one thing you mentioned earlier, obviously, that you created the business to sort of get out of the bad situation you was in. But I can only sort of put myself in that position as best as I can. And what I was thinking is, even though you are doing something positive with creating a business and stuff like that, that comes with a lot of stress itself. So how would you sort of coping with the mental, emotional side of things? Like, because of the business, creating a business, I guess, only takes you so far to escaping that.
Yeah, that's a good question. It is extremely hard, because I would say to any business owner who wants to start, you have to be ready for like a lot of failures in the beginning, and also no money in the beginning. Like, you're going to be running on pure passion and courage, I would say, because you're going to be broke, like, and you're going to lose money as well. And that can be the most discouraging thing, and that can actually filter out so many people from the industry, because they fail and they lose a lot of money and they'll just quit. They'll go back to their 9 to 5, or, a safe route. I never heard of anyone who started a business and they haven't like failed or lost money. So I think that's the biggest hurdle you have to get over, is the struggles in the beginning. And also, yeah, as you mentioned, the emotional side. When I got laid off from my job, it was New Year's Day
Oh,
of this year, and I was coming home from bars with my friends. I was on top of the world, and I got, of course I'm checking my emails. That's another toxic thing, like you need to stop. But I checked my email and it was like, hey Clara, we have budget cuts, you're out, bye. Like it was just so non-personable. And I remember just being crushed, and I was like, oh my gosh, like everyone's partying and I'm just like at the lowest of low right now. And I had no idea what I was going to do because, you know, this was before COVID, but even then the market wasn't very good for jobs, like for
yeah.
hiring. And so the fact that I lost this job already, I was like, well, I'm screwed and all this stuff. And I was feeling sorry for myself. But I mean, within like the next day, I was like, all right, like I have to pick myself up and not feel sorry for myself because I'm not going to improve my life doing that. I have to like figure out how I'm going to get out of this. So that's how the marketing agency came about. It was just, and it was hard because I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't have any clients. So I was just like, well, I'm going to wing it as I always do in life. I feel like it was just God telling me like, you're not meant for that life. You're meant to be like always stressed out until you get it right. So yeah, I just dealt with it.
Now, before we get that business, I just thought it was important. I'm glad you said how you sort of got made redundant. I guess laid off is like the same as redundant, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard
Yeah.
redundant, but you
Yeah.
could say fired too. Like
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Like sacked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just cut off.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was in a similar position in July actually. I was doing a 9 to 5 alongside all of this, and yeah, I thought I had it bad because I also got an email, but I was actually in the office next to the boss. So you can imagine like this wall, like that's her
Oh
office.
my gosh, that's
Yeah.
cruel.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
I was like, it was in the morning, so I was working away, like, you know, like so happy, blah blah blah. And then I got the email pop up, and it just said TED redundancy, and I was like, oh, this is not good. And then
I literally felt my heart drop just as my situation. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It's so similar. So I'm glad I'm not the only one that
Oh
sort of
no.
went through that. Yeah, it's sort of a horrible situation, but
Yeah,
I think,
especially when you think you're doing everything right, like
yeah.
they just let you go and you feel so bad about yourself. You're like, it was definitely me, like something I did and I'm not good enough and this and that. But it happens every day. So
Yeah. No, I think Jim, I know I'm like quoting a lot of references and stuff, but it's just all
I
stuff
love it.
that's sort of like, yeah, like
Yeah.
Jim Carrey. I'm gonna butcher this. I'm not gonna get it completely right, but he said something in a speech. It was something like his dad like when he was younger, his dad got a safe job, and then eventually, like a few months later, he was let go from that safe job. And it obviously is a play on sort of the idea of a safe job because you for years many people thought 9 to 5 was the safe route, but something like this year has shown us that, you know, like nothing's really safe, so you always need to have that
Yeah.
backup plan, you know.
Oh, that's so true. It's so
Yeah.
true, especially nowadays. I'm very thankful I have a job, and I, you know, pray for others that they find, you know, success in jobs as well, because I know, especially with, I just graduated and the class that just graduated from college in America, it's the worst. Like everyone is unemployed, and I,
Wow.
I can maybe name 5 people in my whole class that like have got hired out of, you know, college. So
No, it is scary, but I think if you can, obviously not everyone can, but if you can, my sort of message would be try and get something at least just as some sort of backup, or work on a project or your passion alongside your 9 to 5, just in case anything happens, you've got something there like brewing in the background, you know?
oh, I definitely like that. Yeah, I am a big believer. I think, I don't know who quoted this, but the average millionaire has 7 streams of income or
Wow, yeah,
something.
yeah.
And I can so see that because the successful people I know, they have their hands in a million different things. And I think that's a good thing to do. You can't just rely on one path all the time.
No, 100%. But let's talk more about your business. So did you founded the marketing agency as a way to pay your tuition fees? Is that what you said?
So my drop shipping e-commerce company when I was 16, that funded my college, and then I actually founded my marketing agency this year after I lost my job. I had it junior year of college is when I launched it, but it was always my side hustle. Like it was never something I thought that I would be full time with because I didn't believe in myself and I didn't believe that I could make that like something successful. So I always had that on the side with like web design gigs and logo design and stuff like that. But yeah, and then it was just sitting there for a while when I went to the corporate agency, and it was like basically waiting for me when I got laid off. It was looking at me in the face and was like, all right, we're going to do this full time. So I fully sent it.
No, that's good. So, and then with that whole scenario, like, how did you go about getting? Like, you obviously spoke to Lucy about this, and I thought it was like a good point to mention, because a lot of people listening to this are young people, either interested and not yet set up a business, or actively involved in a business of some form. So, if you don't mind speaking about like the clients and how you sort of like your proactivity levels, if that's such a word, like,
Yeah,
how did you reach out, or did they come to you, or how did that whole situation work?
they absolutely did not come to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just don't live in that world,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But that was the hardest part about starting a marketing agency, was finding clients. And that's the biggest problem for every agency. Nowadays, I have so much traction to the point where like I'm finally getting, a lot of clients per week, and I'm getting overwhelmed at this point. But in the beginning, I was just sitting there like, I don't have no idea how to give services to people. I suck on the phone. I'm not good at sales. Like in my mind, I was like, I am not good at pushing someone to sign up for my services. I can't imagine myself knocking on doors either. I even debated on like going door to door of like local businesses. That's how desperate I was. I was like, maybe I could go in there and like give them a little spiel, but I didn't have the balls to do it. So I Googled, I mean, of course, Google just saves my life every time, but I just Googled how to get clients for marketing agency. And like, it's as simple as that. We have so many resources out there in front of us. You do not need to pay for anything to learn this stuff. And I didn't learn this stuff in college, unfortunately, but so many articles, YouTube, you know, YouTube people who are already in the industry will give so much good advice, and that's who I learned from mainly. But they told me like all these places they get clients. There's actual websites where you can get clients like Freelancer, Upwork, all these places. And there's people listing, uh, I need marketing, I need this, I need this, and all you do is click it and you apply to it. And the hard part is to win the client. So that part really you have to teach yourself. There's no right way, you just have to figure it out. But it was hard because I remember the first time I got an interview, it was for this woman, and I completely lowballed myself. Like I was like, oh yeah, I hope she can do it for $50 a month. Like I'll give her everything she needs for $50. That is terrible. But that's what I started with. Okay. And I was so nervous on the phone. I was shaking. I had to like give myself a hype speech. I was in like the parking lot of Starbucks or something. I couldn't even do the phone call inside Starbucks. I like stepped out of my car and I like sat there, gave myself a big old pep talk. And then I got on the phone and didn't know what I was doing, but I was stumbling about, and somehow I got the client. And that's really all there is to it. Like every phone call you get better and you figure it out and you price yourself what you're worth. Please don't price yourself at $50 a month, guys. Like don't do it. But yeah, and then your skills get better, you get more experience, and therefore you keep going up in clients and high ticket clients. But yeah, if you just believe in yourself and keep practicing, and also work on your phone call skills, I believe you can scale your marketing agency pretty quickly.
Oh no, definitely. I think, yeah, you're right. It's just a case of getting started, and like you said, what you'll have that bad phone call to begin with, and then maybe the next phone call will be a little bit better, and then
Yeah.
eventually keep going, and then you'll get to a point where you're like, oh wow, I can't believe like my first phone call was like that.
Oh, it's hilarious. Yeah, when I look back, I just laugh because I'm like, I was terrible. But nowadays, it's like second nature to me. Like picking up a phone call, I have like probably 4 a day, and we just get on there. And the biggest advice I would give to winning a client is just like be yourself. Don't be like sleazy salesman, because you can tell in the tone of voice if they're turned off by that. And just like explain who you are, what you can do, and also make it seem extremely simple for them. Like when I get on a phone call, I'm very straightforward. I'm like, hey, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but can you tell me a little about yourself and what you need for marketing in your business? They explain it, and then I tell them I can definitely fulfill that for you. Can I make a presentation for you? And then so I make a presentation, send it to them, and then we onboard. Like I try to make it that simple. Because they're too busy ultimately. They don't want to be stressed out by like you making the whole process complicated and make it seem like they need to do so much for you to start. They just want to hear like, I can do it. Step 1, step 2, step 3, we're done. And then you're their marketer. So that's the advice I give.
Thank you for that. I'm so glad you said that, because I'm in the same position. I literally sent, I was speaking to a client last week, a potential client last week, and
Oh, do you do marketing? Do you
yeah,
have a marketing?
yeah, I do my, but
Oh,
I've only
cool.
just started like doing it myself. Like literally last week, I'd made a decision to do that alongside everything else. Um,
Oh, awesome.
yeah, so it's like as you're speaking, I'm like making mental notes, but
Yeah, yeah. If you ever need to like collaborate or need help with clients,
oh,
let me know because
definitely.
I'm like overflowed right now. But yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
definitely. The big part that makes me stand out is making a presentation for them, and just making the phone call pretty short and easy. But yeah, I'll be like, after this phone call, I'm gonna get off and research your website a little, and then I'm gonna put together a presentation. And then I have a template, and so it's like a template that I've made already, and it doesn't take very long to do it. You just have to replace like the niche and the hashtags you use, and like just fill in things. But I can send it to you after. I'm
Yeah.
like going off on this specific thing.
No, yes, please. I'll be very grateful for that. But yeah, I did make a presentation of some sort. I sent it off to them, and they just blanked me. I sent
Oh,
it last week, and it's been a whole week, and I haven't got back. So I'll
hey,
take.
that happens too. I mean, I apply for like I play like twice a day for clients, I'd say, and I win over maybe like 50% of them. So I get ghosted all the time.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah. Okay.
Part of it.
Yeah. Okay. It's not just me, then. That's good. Um,
No, no, that's just a part of the job. I don't even pay attention to it anymore. I used to like take it personal, and now I'm like, nah, who knows? Who knows what it was?
yeah. Exactly. It could be anything, couldn't it? But
Yeah.
firstly, I'm what's the word? I admire what you've done to sort of create your business to get you out of your situation, but I admire you even more so for the non-profit that you set up to help other people. So if you don't mind telling us a bit more about that, you've mentioned it briefly, but if we could
Yeah.
dive into that a little bit more.
Right. So, at one point, like a lot of my life was centered around money, and I just am the kind of person who, like, yes, I want to be comfortable, but I need something morally to, I don't know, fuel me. And like, I'm a very deep person, and I just want to give back to the community. And also, I can relate to those situations, obviously, with domestic abuse. I was raised in a household with domestic abuse every single day, and I know like the trauma it has put on me, and I still deal with issues and like work through that. But I just had a feeling like I could make something to help people in those situations, because at the time when I was in that situation, I was trying to find anyone to talk to, anyone who could like help me or support me, like, and it was hard because there's only like shelters and stuff for people who need the place to stay between their transition in life, and that wasn't me. I was only 16. Like, I needed someone to relate to talk to, just someone that could make me feel normal. And so I thought of a domestic abuse survivor and victim podcast where people can come on and share what they went through, how to get through that trauma, what they did to heal, where they're at now, like. And everyone in this podcast are so brave for coming on and sharing their story, because it's really hard to dive into those stories, especially if it's fresh and like recent. But everyone's so different as well. So my goal is to like just keep bringing on people, so people experiencing those things out there can find at least one person on the podcast to really resonate with. And again, I get donations for the general fund to fund like a bunch of women and men, and then I have individual donations, so the people who come on the podcast, they can get donations just to themselves. So yeah, so far we've raised thousands and helped a lot of people out of their situations, but I hope to continue to do this forever. Honestly, there's really no end goal. I just want to continue to help people and expand.
No, that's amazing. Like I said, I admire that, and it's something I'm looking to do. So yeah, definitely, sounds really good. But how important is it to give back? Because it's something, like I said, I'm looking to sort of do it myself in the near future. But how important for people is it to give back?
Yeah, well, personally to me, I don't even find it like an option in life. Like, I just don't see how anyone could be happy not giving back to others. I just resonate so much with people who have had a rough childhood or have, events in their life right now that they need support. So I just think it's like crucial to life. I don't know how you could be happy just spending money on yourself. Like, materialistic things, they can only give you so much happiness. And once I have a nice car, nice house, and I can support myself, like, what's the next step? I don't really care about anything else. I just want to help people. And Like, I was thinking about how every weekend I go out, I spend like probably around $300. And like, I was looking up even sponsorships to sponsor kids in third world countries and stuff, just like sending them that money instead of spending on yourself. It changes their life. And to think like those drinks and that dinner that you're going to forget the next day, that could have changed someone's whole year. It kind of, if you just look at it like that, like it really does put an impact on your mind. And so, yeah, ultimately, I just want to give back in all ways possible.
No, definitely. I think it is such a good thing to do. And like like you said, once you do get all the nice things for yourself that you once thought were like the best things ever, once you start getting those things, you realize pretty soon, well, I did anyway, like it means nothing. Like you get the nice
Yeah,
watch, the nice jacket, the nice whatever, and you're like, okay, it didn't make me feel how I thought it was going to make me feel. But when you go
right.
and help someone, it gives you that feeling times 10, you know?
Exactly, yeah. And I'm just not a big person on like spending hundreds on a shirt or like a watch. I mean, yeah, like everyone deserves to spend money the way they want. And I think everyone should have one nice thing for any category, whatever, like a nice car, a nice house. Like I have those nice things now. I don't see how like for the rest of your life you can spend on so much materialistic things when I think like I was reading something the other day. It was like $100 supplies a kid's like whole food supply for a year. And to think like that way, I don't know. I just personally want to give back so much.
No, definitely. It's something I'm going to get into as well. I think it's very important. Um,
Mm.
but talking of money, um, this may be a slight contradiction because we're talking about like, I want to ask the question, if you had like a few £100 and you wanted to start a business, well, let me rephrase it. You have a few £100. How would you advise people to spend that few £100?
Ooh.
Um, I know we just spoke about giving to other people, so it may sort of contradict it a little bit. But
No, no. I'm talking about like when you're really, really
yeah,
comfortable, like,
yeah.
but when you need to make it. And I actually only had a couple $100 when I
Mhm.
made my first drop shipping company. I think with marketing, it's a really good space to get into. I'm not sure about other industries, but if you can find industries where you don't need much money through the door, I would suggest getting into it. Like marketing, all I really needed was to fund, my basic stuff like my laptop, and scheduling systems, automation systems, which would be like $100 a month. Um, and also, I didn't have employees starting out, so I wouldn't even say you need money for employees right away.
Yeah.
But just knowing like you can utilize that money to get you by until you like start generating income. It's definitely possible. My first business, I had like a couple $100 and I would drop ship. So I would just use the money someone paid me to pay for the product and they would go ship off to them. And that's the really big advantage about drop shipping. You don't have to have a million things in your house. And then marketing, you don't need anything physical really to start. You just need to fund the basics. So both are pretty cheap.
No, thank you. So literally someone an hour before this recording asked me that question. I don't know who it is. He just popped up on my Instagram and asked me that. So I thought
Okay.
I'd get another answer, another view on that. So thank you. Um,
Yeah.
we're I could speak to you all day. We're running out of time slightly. But the last few things, you've given a lot of good advice. If I could try and get you to summarize one bit of advice for the young people out there, whether they're involved in a business or just interested, what would it be?
Yeah, that's a good question. I honestly just think like we, especially in this generation, in my opinion, we, I don't want to say this in like a bad way, but I feel like we don't work extremely hard from scratch. Like we're good at working hard when we're told what to do. We have to learn that like you can make your own future and you can create your own future. You just have to know that you are capable of it and you can put in work. You just can't give up. And it's going to be a big struggle at first, and as anything in life, it's not overnight, it's not going to be easy and instant, but if you just remember like you believe in your skills and you know you're capable of pulling through with a business, you're going to do it. You just have to take it day by day and not think about yesterday's mistakes. Oh, I should have done this with this client. Oh, you should look at it as a positive thing. I learned this yesterday, I learned this from this client, I'm going to do this better, and you continue on. So yeah, I think anyone, literally anyone, can do it. It's not based on how intelligent you are I just think it's just your will to work and your will to put in the struggles and know that it's going to turn out.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. Now, a bit more about you. What's next for you? Have you got any plans on the horizon?
I am honestly finally at a place where I'm not thinking of the next thing. So like, I'm just gonna keep continuing to expand my marketing agency. Yeah, I've hit my goals for 6 months, and I'm going to continue on and expand and hire more people. Continue with my nonprofit, and I also am going to travel a lot now because I'm finally out of college and I have money to do so. So yeah, I think that's it. I just want to travel the world and be young and free and fun and a businesswoman. So
Nice. That's the dream. We're living the dream. But
yeah, I
did you
think so.
mention to Lucy about a book as well?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh my gosh, I actually got my last stories in. So I have a domestic abuse anthology coming out. So it's a collection of stories from men and women with their experiences to help others, and every purchase will go to the Peace Over Pieces Fund to help others as well. So it's a complete passion project, and I just got my last stories in yesterday from participants. So I'm hiring. You just reminded me, I need to go hire a proofer, an editor today, and then hopefully the book will be out by like January or February of 2021.
Brilliant. Well, best of luck for that. Last final question. What do you want your legacy to be, if you want a legacy at all?
A legacy. Legacy. I just want to be someone like outside of my professional world, like I just want to be the girl that really cares for others. Like I hope and pray that when people look at me, they just think I'm a nice person, and like that I am there for people genuinely. Like there's nothing I love more than meeting new people and figuring out their stories and helping them through something. And aside from my professional life, I want to be successful, of course, but I just want to be known as like the girl who, I don't know, is just open to talk no matter what, and like just a good person all around and give back. So I think morally that would be my legacy.
That's brilliant. It seems like you're on the right track anyway.
Thank you.
But final thing then from you, if there's anything you'd like to say to everyone listening in terms of like where to follow you and stuff like that, or a final message, please do let them know now.
I don't think I have a final message because I talk so much. I think I've got it all out. But yeah, give back, be a good person. You can do anything you put your mind to. Just manifest it and it will happen. And then you can, if anyone wants to connect with me, send a message, ask a question, they can follow me at my personal Instagram, which is Clara.Baldwin.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And yeah, loved it. Thank you.
Thanks, Ted. Thanks for having me on.
If only they knew, the hub for young business minds.